Bonjour! Bonjour!
No.
Time for bladder check. Check.
So it's a show?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a religion.
My emotions! My emotions!
I'm still French.
Ouais, c'est pas faux.
I'm a woman, Mary. I can be as contrary as I choose.
Non, moi je crois qu'il faut que vous arrêtiez d'essayer de dire des trucs.
I'm so excited! Is it normal to be that much excited? I mean, that's an old show, such an old show, and I'm excited like I'm gonna discover the new, you know, Star Wars Disney thing. Is it normal? Hello, hi, I'm Laura. I'm gonna watch an episode of Twilight Zone. I'm excited. That's a new project, you know, that I want to make on my channel. I think that it's totally unexpected, you know, for you to see me reacting to this show, to this old show. The fact that I'm reacting to such an old show, the fact that I'm reacting to this one. And yes, it's unexpected, but I wanted to do that since a long time. I mean, I wanted to watch this show since a long time because it's so cult, it's so popular. But guys, I was not born, you know, like when it was out. I didn't exist, like I was not alive when it happened, so I couldn't watch it for sure. It's so cult, it's so popular that I always thought, one day you should watch 1 or 2 episodes, you know, to see how it is and stuff like that. And you know, growing up, when I discovered shows like Black Mirror or stuff like that, a lot of times I was like, for what I know about Twilight Zone, I think that in fact Black Mirror and other shows like that, they are truly influenced by Twilight Zone, and I don't even know it, you know, because I never watched it, when in fact I'm sure that I can find some references. I'm sure that there are stuff like that which were working for this show during that period of time and all, and maybe they readapt it for our period of time. I don't know. I always wanted to watch it, and I thought that it could be fun, in fact, to maybe make it, you know, for my channel, to share my reactions and my thoughts, you know, on an old show. You know, as a young person in our days, to react to an old show like that with all of the things that I know, all of the technology that we have right now, I think that already that it could be interesting. The fact that I'm French, you know, I'm from Europe, I don't know, but maybe there are some references, some US references from that period of time. Like, I don't know, maybe it could be interesting also for me to share my opinions, my thoughts, my reactions like that with you, and no matter what, to compare also the subjects that they were exploring into each different episode with what we know right now. I think that it can be great. Guys, I'm searching ways to explain to you why I wanted to start that project, you know. I'm not gonna react to all of these episodes. That's a fair warning. I'm not gonna react to every episode. You know that each episode is telling a different story. I hope so. I checked, you know, the most popular episodes, and I noted 42 of these episodes. I don't even know if I'm gonna react to these 42 episodes. Even more because I don't know how YouTube is gonna react with these reaction videos, you know, if I'm gonna get blocked or not. Who owns the show truly right now? I made some researches, and each time it was a different production, so I can't know in advance if these reaction videos are gonna be okay with YouTube or not. I saw, you know, I made some researches also on YouTube, and I saw that on YouTube entire episodes are available, you know, for free and stuff like that. So I'm like, maybe it's gonna work. At least I want to try. And yes, it's a project, you know. It's really like, no, I'm not gonna react to the entire show. I'm gonna react to several episodes. For now, I don't know how many. I noted 42 of them. I'm gonna pick, you know, on them like that. Today I'm gonna watch 3 episodes from the season 1. And maybe if with YouTube it's working, I will watch other episodes on another day. Like, really, it's like that. I'm gonna pick some episodes like that. I can't predict in advance when you're gonna have them on my channel. I don't know if you're gonna appreciate or not, you know, also to have my opinions and thoughts about it. I don't know if it's gonna please you also to rewatch this show with me. I don't know if you ever watched this show. I really don't know, it's a big question mark, but you can see that I'm really excited about it. Like, for me it's really Black Mirror before Black Mirror, this show. And I don't care about the fact that it's old, I don't care about the fact that it's in black and white. It has never been, you know, stuff which were blocking me to discover something, a show, a movie or stuff like that. It's so popular, it's so cult, like I want to discover it. And again, I think that reactions and thoughts about this show, which is about that kind of subject, like it can be so interesting. At least for me it's gonna be interesting to film it, to do it, and I hope that it's gonna please you also to watch it with me. I hope so. Maybe I'm gonna make you discover this show also. It could be great. I'm just excited, I don't know how to explain it in another way. Okay, so I'm gonna watch right now. I'm gonna watch the episode 22 of the season 1. I'm gonna watch The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. It's one of the most popular on IMDB. So I'm gonna watch this one right now. Like always, on my Patreon you're gonna have an extended all-for reaction part for these videos about Twilight Zone. I can't know in advance what I'm gonna put, so check the description each time. Check the schedule also each Monday if you want to know if during this week you're gonna have a reaction video about this show or not. And again, I'm gonna react to each episode, like one from season 2, one from season 1, one from season 4, one from season 1 again, like really randomly. If you have favorite episodes, please tell me that on the comments if you want me to react to a particular one. Maybe it's already, you know, on my list, but I will pick that one maybe sooner than I thought. And that's it. What can I say? I'm excited. So yes, if you want to support me, Patreon, you're gonna have these episodes with a longer reaction part, an extended one or a full one. I will see that. And let's go. I'm impatient. Let's go. So I said 22. I want to begin with the number 22. I have to deal also with a different screen. I have to configure stuff for it.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as
That's the opening
space.
credit?
It is the middle ground.
I never watched it. I was not born, guys. I did not exist when it was out. It was out in 87.
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone. It will be precisely 6:43 p.m. on Maple Street.
Aliens?
What was that, a meteor?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I didn't hear any cracks though, did you?
No, I didn't hear anything except a roar. Came awful close, didn't it?
Too close for my money. Much too close.
No. It looks like Desperator's Wife neighborhood, you know.
Monsters came.
The idea that we have that kind of neighborhood. Ah! It's like, what? La Guerre des Mondes. I don't know the translation in English. All of the electric, magnetic things are not working anymore. Ah.
I'll cut across the backyard, see if the power is still on Floral Street.
Doesn't make sense.
Why
should the power
that
go off all of a sudden on the phone line?
The power failure, everybody gets flustered and everything.
It isn't just a power failure, Charlie. If it were, we'd still be able to get a broadcast on the portable. I'll take a run downtown. Maybe I can
They
see
can't
you
go on Twitter to check what is happening. He has to take his car to know that. I really like into, you know, that movie with Tom Cruise and all. I know that at first it was, you know, something said on the radio. Come on, I know the story.
Mr. Brand? You better not.
Why not?
They don't want you to.
They?
Them?
Them.
Aliens?
Who are them?
Whoever was in that thing that came by overhead.
What?
Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard?
You think that they don't want you to leave? I would be more like into the movie, I would say we have to run, they're gonna attack. And they...
Comic books or seen too many movies or something. Tommy, you stop that kind of talk. Come on.
Medias can do crazy things like sunspots.
Sure, that's the kind of thing, like sunspots.
They don't know what happened, they're just trying to reassuring themselves.
You might not even be able to get to town. It was that way in the story. Nobody could leave.
Which
except
story?
the people they'd sent down ahead of them. They looked just like humans, and it wasn't until the ship landed that...
Craziest thing you ever heard of? The kids.
Already you had that idea, you know, that aliens could look like humans? No, but Battlestar Galactica, it was way before, after that.
Two kids looked just like humans, but they weren't.
Oh, you're believing really fast into what that kid is saying.
Well, I guess what we need to do is run a check of the neighborhood and find out which ones of us are really human.
They're gonna be...
Does your car start, Les?
Nope.
No dice. Nothing seems to be working. Can't even get the car started.
Now it's working? Now you're gonna be like, why is car not ours?
How come his car just hasn't started like that, all by itself? It wasn't anywhere near it, it just started all by itself.
That's the real question.
He never did come out to look at that thing that flew overhead. He wasn't even interested.
This whole family. Real oddball.
Oh yeah,
He come out with the rest of us to look. What do you say we go ask him?
You want to ask or you want to arrest him?
Now let's not be a mob.
I don't understand.
Me neither. We're just talking about a car walking, not walking, walking, not walking.
There's nothing working.
And it's frightening everyone. And even me, I'm like...
It's a freak thing, I admit it, but what's it make me, a criminal or something? I don't know why it starts, it just does.
We're on a monster kick fest.
Ah,
Seems the general impression now holds that maybe there's a family that isn't what we think they are.
just because
Monsters from
a
outer
kid
space
says
or
so.
something.
This is a gag or something?
Yeah.
What is this, a practical joke or something?
Again? Do you have a kid who is playing, you know, with... No?
The car starts and stops, and really does it, huh? Really does it.
I'm someone really
I don't understand
pragmatic.
it any more than any of you do. The whole thing's just weird.
Well, if that's the case, Les Goodman, then explain why you...
Explain what?
Look, let's just forget it.
I've seen Les Goodman here, in the wee hours of the morning, standing in his yard, just looking up at the sky.
Can he just breathe outside of his
Just
house?
looking up at the sky as though we were waiting for something.
Eh?
As though we were looking for something.
What were you doing outside yourself? I don't know
I'm
what
feeling
you did.
insomnia.
You scared, frightened rabbits, you.
You're sick people, do you know that?
They're afraid. People who are afraid are ready to believe into everything, anything. If we learn something with the COVID,
That's what you should be
it's like,
frightened of.
what about the rest of the town? You know?
It just doesn't seem right to keep watch on them, when they're our neighbors. We've known the Goodmans ever since they came here.
Any guy who'd spend his time looking up at the sky early in the morning, there's something that's wrong with that kind of a...
You don't know how many times it's only the lady who said that.
Like going back into the dark ages or something.
Oh yeah, really?
Stay right where you
Didn't
are,
take
Steve.
you that long to...
We don't want any trouble.
You best watch who you see with, Steve. Till we get this all straightened out, you ain't exactly above suspicion yourself.
Yeah? Now you're... Oh yeah, yeah.
What I want to know is what are we going to do? Just stand around here all night?
There's nothing else.
Go check how it's happening outside, you know, what is happening.
You sound pretty anxious to have that happen, Steve. I guess we ought to keep an eye on you, too.
Oh yeah.
Dwight's been doing a little talking, Steve, about some of the odd things you've been doing.
Huh?
Yeah?
It's
You're all gossiping, you know, in daily basis. So now you're using that. I was gonna say to be afraid of people, to denounce everyone, to threaten everyone.
Well, Myra's talked about how there's been plenty of nights you spent hours down in your basement working on some kind of radio or something.
To contact the aliens.
Who do I talk to? I talk to monsters from outer space.
Nah.
I talk to three-headed green men who fly over.
Steve, please. It's just a ham radio set, that's all.
No, we won't show them anything.
You don't have anything to
We're
prove.
gonna look inside our house, let them get a search warrant. Look, buddy, you can't afford to. Johnny, don't you tell me what I can afford.
Oh, you are really good friends, all of you.
Believe me, friends, the only thing that's gonna happen is that we're gonna eat each other up alive.
The guy who want to see the other neighborhood is coming back now. You are afraid of him now?
It's the monster. It's the monster.
Huh?
Someone on Steve. You're gonna toss right into a grave. You got whatever's out there walk right over us with you. Well, some of us won't.
Huh? You don't know who that is? What? Oh, you went crazy, guys. I know what it's denouncing, you know. I'm gonna talk about it during the review.
He's Van Horn.
Uh-huh.
Pete Van Horn. Well, he was just going over to the next block to see if the power was on.
You know who he was?
Well, certainly didn't know who he was.
You just decided to kill someone.
Well, he came out of the darkness.
He can't
How
walk
was I supposed to know who he was?
into the dark.
He was only trying to protect my home. And it was somebody we knew.
Uh-huh! It's changed something because you knew that person. If it was a stranger.
Charlie, the lights just went on in your house.
Uh-huh!
Why did the lights go on in your house?
They're gonna suspect you now. You're the monster now. Not because he killed someone, but because of the fact that he has lights.
Maybe Pete learned something and came back to tell us who it was amongst us we had to look out for.
No! No, it's nothing of the sort!
A gag! Johnny, there's a man lying dead in the street and you killed him. Does that look like a gag to you?
Now, you're gonna...
Look! Look, I swear it isn't me! I swear it isn't! I know who it is! I know who the monster is! It's a kid! It's Tommy! He's the one!
Oh, that's not true.
Why? No?
It was this kid who knew what was going to happen. He was the one who knew.
Who knew nothing, but you believed him that much?
What's the matter with you people now? Stop!
You're right, it's him.
It isn't the kid! It's Bob Lieber's house!
The power is just coming back into your houses, you stupid. Huh?
Understand the procedure now? Just stop a few of their machines, and radios, and telephones, and lawnmowers. And this pattern is always the same, with few variations. All we need to do is sit back and watch. Then I take it this place, this Maple Street, is not unique. Their world is full of Maple Streets. And we'll go from one to the other and let them destroy themselves.
Ah!
One to the other. The tools of conquest do not necessarily come with bombs and explosions and fallout. For the record, prejudices can kill, and suspicion can destroy. And the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the Twilight Zone. Rod Serling, the creator of Twilight Zone.
I don't want any spoiler.
Serling.
No, no!
Mr. Richard Matt.
No, I don't want any spoiler about what is gonna happen next time. They were not making trailers, you know, they were taking a guy saying what the next episode was gonna be. Oh, I have so many things to say. I have so many things to say about... First, about how it's built, you know, how this episode was built, the fact that it's in two parts, it's almost like a theater piece, you know, in two acts, and with a lot of different scenes into it. The fact that we have really the narrator at the end, I mean, at the beginning and at the end, at first putting the context, at the end making the conclusion, and making also the moral speech, the moral message that you can take out of this episode. That's something that we don't have anymore. I mean, again, if you're thinking about Black Mirror, they could put a narrator, you know, to create the context at the beginning. We're into that universe, this universe is built like that, and at the end, the thing that we wanted to show you with this episode, it was that and that. It's interesting, you know, for the form of it. For now, for us, you know, we are used to not to analyze each shows, you know, and each episode, but maybe we are more used to really know that writers, they can put a message into episodes, into shows, movies, things that they are creating. So messages like that, I add them during this episode, and I even saw more messages than the one that they described at the end. I'm gonna come back to that. And there are two other things that I want to talk about, the messages that they put into that show, but also the references, you know, that I can see into it, and I have to search when the references that I'm thinking about, they were created before or after this episode, you know, was out. You know, at the end, the narrator is making that message, you know, saying that all of that can happen because people are suspecting each other, and you know, it's not great at all. And the fact that it's happening into a regular neighborhood with people, in fact, who had already informations about each other, who were gossiping about each other, and right there confronted to something that they don't understand, they are afraid and they are going a little crazy, suspecting each other, they are using the stuff that they were gossiping about before. Right there, they were using it to suspect them to be aliens. So yes, you had that part, you know, of the story which can bring that message, but also the fact that people, when they are afraid, they are searching for a villain no matter what, they are searching for an enemy, for the person who is going to be responsible of that, and they are okay for anyone to be anyone else than themselves. And you know, at first it was a weird guy on that street, after that it was the one who was just trying to calm the situation, after that it was the one like who committed a crime, but not because he committed a crime, but because of the fact that stuff happened into his house. And after that it was the kid, just because he knew stuff, but no, he didn't know anything, and you chose to believe him, and so quickly. And for me, it's also saying a lot about the fact that people who are afraid, they can really believe into things really easily, and they are not gonna choose the pragmatic and the reasonable solution, and they're gonna go for the craziest solution, in fact, because it's fitting, you know, with their fears. Do you understand what I mean? Like someone who is truly afraid, if you are giving to that person a reasonable answer, a logical one, a really pragmatic one, that person is gonna be like, you know, because that person is so afraid that it's gonna prefer, in fact, the craziest solution, because it's fitting more really with how much that person is afraid. Do you understand what I mean? And I think that it was something like that also right there, that they described, like that guy, the one with the hammer, he went on the other street to know what was happening, like really he was a pragmatic guy, and you had the kid who told all of this story, and they believed that kid just like that, even before knowing the answer about what was happening around, if it was also happening like that on these other streets. The fact that at the end, you know, I was not expecting to have that conclusion with these aliens, you know, at the end. The fact that they are looking like humans, I'm gonna come back to that. But I was not expecting for them to create a second end, like for me, to have all of this street going crazy and people killing each other, going mad and all. It was already a good conclusion for this episode, for the message of this episode. The fact that they are bringing another end with these aliens who created that situation because they want humans to kill each other. They don't have to intervene, in fact they just have to create that situation in all all of our world, and at the end we're just gonna kill each other, and really we would have done the job for them. It's funny, you know, it's a funny end, funnier than the one, you know, just before that, with just people killing each other because of their stupidity. No, because of their fears. I'm gonna be nicer with my comments. And for the message, it's also bringing another message, the fact that people can take advantage of your fears, people can take advantage of the fact that you're gonna be so afraid that you're gonna believe into everything, anything. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to talk about, it's the references, you know, that I found into this episode, or maybe in fact the references that this episode gave to other movies and shows. Aliens coming and taking off all of the power stuff, all of the communications, all of the cars. For sure, it made me think of La Guerre des Mondes, World War, you know, the movie with Tom Cruise. I know that it's based on a novel or a book. I can't remember, but I know the story, which was said on the radio, and people were so afraid because they thought that it was true, and in fact it was not. I know the entire story about it. I want to check, you know, when it happened. I can't remember when. Yes, it was way before that. Okay, I mean way before this episode was out. The War of the Worlds, it was published in 1888. Oh, it was made on radio on 1938. Oh, I didn't know that it was that long, you know, after it was published. But now that I think about it, yes, into the book, it was only, you know, the thing about things coming from the sky, you know, exploding, and after that, mechanic stuff coming from out of Earth. But into the book, we didn't have that electronic magnetic thing that we have, you know, into the movie. The movie, when they created that, you know, was it a reference or not to this episode of Twilight Zone, or maybe Twilight Zone, they picked it from somewhere else? Okay, so I was wrong about the references, you know, but it's interesting, you know, to see that thing between the movie and between this episode. And yes, the second thing that they did, the fact that aliens, they can look like humans. Again, 87, I'm wondering, you know, all of the sci-fi shows which were out 87. Battlestar Galactica, for sure it's after that, but the first one, 78, so it's before that. But the silence, they don't look humans into that first version. No, they don't look like humans. And another sci-fi show to the same period of time. Yes, Star Trek, it was when? Ah, Star Trek, it was before that. You know, with Spock, he looked a little human. Maybe you can imagine that after the first Star Trek, which was in 1966, they began to think that maybe aliens, they could look humans. Maybe they began to think about it after Star Trek and other shows and movies which were about it. You know, I can see a lot of different references for how they created the context, you know, how they created the things which were disturbing these people. They really put references like that into, I was gonna say our world. No, it's our world, but during that period of time. You know, something which was fun, it's the fact that at first, when that thing happened for them, you know, all of the electric thing being cut off like that and all like nothing functioning, I was like, clearly they can't go on Twitter to check that. But I think that into the War of the Worlds, they resolved that situation by saying that that electronic magnetic wave also cut, you know, all of the phones, all of the battery on the phones. It was the best way to do it, like really for people to not communicate with each other. I appreciated that episode. And you know, I'm watching it and you can see that during it I had a lot of references into my head. I was thinking of The War of the Worlds, I was thinking of Battlestar Galactica, I was thinking of a lot of things which can be based, you know, from references like this episode of Twilight Zone. And it's fun also to see how they used it during that period of time on an episode like that. Like, I'm sure that when this episode was out, it was shocking for people, you know, because they didn't have the references that I had. Like, the first time that I watched The War of the Worlds, I thought that that thing, you know, about that electric magnetic wave shutting off the cars, communications, the electricity, everything, all of the batteries and all, I thought that it was a fucking great idea. I mean, for a movie, for a scenario, for something like that, I thought that it was really a good idea, like, to create a bad situation in which you are so blocked and all. I thought that it was so clever, so to see that people thought about it before into an episode like that, during that period of time, I find that really interesting. And I can imagine that when people discovered that idea into this episode, into that period of time, for them it was even more shocking, you know, even more disturbing. I can imagine that. You can tell me that 87, it was not that long ago. For me, again, I didn't even exist during that period of time, but I still think that it could have been shocking, you know, and disturbing a little for people watching it. Or maybe just like me watching the movie The War of the Worlds, they thought that it was a fucking good idea. I'm sorry this review was a little messy, but I wanted to talk about things like that, you know, how the show, this episode was built, the messages that they said, you know, through that episode, but also all of the technological ideas, you know, that they had, all of the references that I found, and which one had that reference first, you know, created that idea first. I'm not sure that I found, you know, who had it, but I think that it's interesting that watching this episode, someone like me who has modern references had the impression that it was taken, you know, from this episode, which was done way earlier, and that I thought also that maybe this episode was influenced by stuff before that. It's like that also with sci-fi stuff, you know, that are responding to each other, in fact. So cool! And I'm glad that I discovered this episode, and I'm gonna try, you know, to edit it and to put it on YouTube. I really hope that it's gonna work. I think that, you know, this episode and all of the stuff that I have to say about it, it's confirming me that I want to make that project, you know, about watching some episodes of Twilight Zone like that, to react to it, to talk about it. I have so many stuff to say about it. Oh, I really hope that it's gonna work with YouTube. Wish me luck with that. Okay, I'm gonna watch one more episode right now, 2 more episodes, in fact, yes. It's all for you for today, and it's all for me for now, so bye for now, bye. I really hope that you're gonna appreciate also to discover this episode with me, to discover this show also maybe, to rewatch it with me, to... Oh, I really hope that you're gonna appreciate it also. It could be something fun to share with you guys. And something new also, something different than the stuff that I do usually on my channel.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Great.